Now I request our member Sri Vinod Garu to conduct Buddha Vandanam.
Tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Dutiyampi buddham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi sangham saranam gacchami.
Today's chief guest, Sri Bhagya Garu, the head of the Department of History of Hyderabad University, and our managing trustee, Sri Gyan Prakash Garu, and Professor Jaishankar Garu, Bal Narasimha Garu, our vice president, and other dignitaries of the dais, the guests who have come here to participate this event and make it a grand success. I welcome you everybody for this function. As we are doing every year, this is the 7th memorial lecture to be delivered by our chief guest today. We have already heard 6 memorial lectures about the history of the Sri Bhagya Reddy Varma Garu. We all know that Sri Bhagya Reddy Varma Garu has born in 1888, and he lived in a very remote, born in area, and he came in childhood to Hyderabad by just had with a quarrel with his mother, and then settled in Hyderabad, lived in Secunderabad and roaming here and there. He met with some 2 foreigners who were playing this tennis. Hello, yes. Hello. There he was helping the players, getting the ball to their place, and regularly he was doing their job every day. And they were impressed very much about this Bhagya Reddy Varma Garu and kept with them to stay with them. Then he developed his career there, and then he joined his mother again, living his life peacefully. In the 1906, he married to a woman called Srimati Lakshmi Devi, and Lakshmi married in 1906, and then he started doing social works in the society. Sri Bhagya Reddy Varma Garu, he started, his main aim was to establish the schools for the girls. In those days, there was no education for the girls. That's why he started working on the education system for the girls alone. So therefore, his focus was totally on the education for the girls. So he started establishing schools in the Hyderabad at the early age of 18 years. So he established about 7 to 8 schools. The first one was this Chadraghat Girls High School. Then he established in Lingampalli, then Gun Rock, Gun Foundry, and then in some other places of the city. After that, he also established few schools in Secunderabad. In total, he has established about 26 schools, which were running very prominently. So all these schools were running very peacefully. So the government has come forward to take these schools because they were managed in a very good manner. So therefore, he has put a condition that schools will be handed over to the government, those days Nizam government, provided if the medium of teaching is in Telugu, then he has accepted to hand over the schools. Accordingly, the schools were handed over to him, to the government, and they were running. This he has done till 1933 of his life. He has lived for a very short period, say about 50 plus years. And then in 1913, he was blessed with a son called M.B. Gautam Garu. M.B. Gautam was running the school after his demise. He has run the school for about almost 70 years. It was very great effort of Sri M.B. Gautam Garu, the only son of Sri Bhagya Reddy Varma Garu. In 1933, he was continuously roaming not only in the city but also outside of the city, other states as part of the city. And then he became very tired and he fell ill in 1934. In 1934, after falling ill, he went for treatment, Mysore, etc., in other places. Then he was suffering with a chest pain. He was admitted in the hospital of Usmania General Hospital. He was treated there and he came back within a month. Again, he developed with a problem of chest pain. There, he was admitted in this hospital. He is declared as dead. So this is a brief history which I have told you of the Bhagya Reddy Varma Garu. In depth, our Professor Garu, our chief guest, will explain you in detail of his history. So now I will end with this beginning of this what you call opening remarks. I request now Sri Gyanprakash Garu to speak his lecture.
సభకు నమస్కారం. ఇవాళ మనము భాగ్యరెడ్డి గారి 87వ వర్ధంతి జరుపుకుంటున్నాము. We are fortunate to have among us Professor Bhangya Garu. He is a senior professor in Hyderabad Central University and have done a lot of work in social sciences. Though he is a professor of history, he has done a lot of works in African and then Ambedkar and other our downtrodden leaders, and published many books. He was also a Fulbright visiting professor at Pennsylvania University. Just now we had interacted and he was mentioning that he was there. So he had a varied experience, having worked in Usmania University and also Central Institute of English. Now it is known as University of Foreign Languages. And his biodata will be read by our Assistant Secretary Srimati Srilata Gautam in detail. So that is the brief introduction of our chief guest. And all the members, the dais, and of the dais, prominent among them are Sri E.V. Rao Garu, who is the donor, and he donated rupees 50,000 and 10,000 on his own for the development of this institute. He is in the audience. I record his presence and thank him for having come. Similarly, there are others. Sri Satyalingam Garu is officer on special duty, and he has taken time to attend this anniversary function here. And history has been told brief by our working president, Mr. P. Balnarasimha Garu, so I don't want to take, you to that. And moreover, our chief guest will deliver the lecture, 7th lecture here, in memory of our Bhagya Reddy Varma Garu. So coming to the management of our school, it is managed by the Adi Hindu Social Service League. Once upon a time we had 700 and odd students with 30 teachers. Almost all of them were aided by the government, and after retirement also they have been getting government pension. there are at least living pensioners are there about 30 to 40. And for the present, we don't have the government-aided teachers. We have only two aided teachers. One is the headmistress, and another madam is a teaching staff. We have 10 staff members, teaching staff members, whose salaries are given by the members' donations, and also paltry sum of rent we get from the shops, which is around 10 to 11,000 per month. It is hardly sufficient, and we have been getting some funds. Mr. Vivek, who is a minister in the government of Telangana, he is giving 14,000 rupees every month for the past 8 years or so. And we are thankful to him also. So in this connection, I would like to make an appeal to all our members that we should mobilize funds, see that the 100-year-old building caters to the needs of the public and the girl students, which was the dream of Bhagya Reddy Varma and his son, Padma Shri M.B. Gautam, who managed this institution after its upgradation to high school from 1943. That is almost 84 years. So the task before us is to manage the institution and spread the ideals of Bhagya Reddy Varma, who did a lot of work even before Dr. B.R. Ambedkar came into the field. He is elder to Dr. Ambedkar by 3 years. He was born in 1888, while Ambedkar was in, as you know, in 1891. So he was encouraging B.R. Ambedkar also, and that is how he was chosen as a representative of the downtrodden for the Round Table Conference in 1932. So I once again appeal to all our members to come up with their donations and see that this institution is continue to spread education and development of our downtrodden people. In this connection, as a token of small contribution, I would like to hand over a check for rupees 8,000 to our Honorary Secretary, Mr. M.B. Gautam. Please come onto the dais and receive. Thank you.
Sri Gyan Prakash Garu, and also thanks for his donation. It is not, he is giving just now 1 or 2 times, he is contributing every time, in every occasion he is giving some donation to our school for the development of the school. So we thank you on behalf of our league. Now I request Srilata Gautam Garu to introduce our chief guest, who is the Department of History, head of the Department of History, University of Hyderabad.
A very good evening to one and all. Good evening to the members on the dais and off the dais. I am Srilata Gautam, the correspondent of the school and the Assistant Secretary of Adi Hindu Social Service League. Today, as we observe the 87th Vardhanti of Sri Bhagya Reddy Varma Garu, we remember and pay tribute to a great social reformer who dedicated his life to social equality, education, and the upliftment of the oppressed sections of society. On this meaningful occasion, it is my proud privilege to introduce our distinguished speaker. We are honored to have with us Professor Bhukya, an eminent historian and a nationally and internationally recognized scholar of modern Indian history. Professor Bhagya Bhagya achievements are truly remarkable. He completed his MA and MPhil from the University of Hyderabad and earned his PhD from the prestigious University of Warwick, United Kingdom, under the highly competitive Ford Foundation International Fellowship, which is awarded only to outstanding scholars. This itself stands as a great academic achievement. He further achieved international recognition by serving as a postdoctoral fellow at SOAS University of London under a British Council visiting fellowship. Being selected for such a fellowship reflects his excellency and global academic standing. One of his major scholarly achievements is his widely acclaimed book, Subjugated Nomads, the Lambadas under the Rule of Nizams, which is considered as important contribution to subaltern and social history of India. He also published several research articles in leading international journals, bringing global attention to the histories of Adivasis and marginalized communities. Another significant achievement is his pioneering research on subaltern studies, particularly on Adivasis, nomadic communities, identity movement, and the impact of colonial and state power on marginalized groups. Through his research, he has brought neglected histories into mainstream academic discourse. He has served as a dedicated professor at Usmania University and the English and Foreign Language University, IFLU, and is presently serving at the University of Hyderabad, where he continues to guide research scholars and contribute to the academic development. Beyond academic achievements, he is also actively associated with Adivasi human rights movement in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, showing his commitment not only as a scholar but also as a socially responsible intellectual. On this solemn occasion of remembering Sri Bhagya Reddy Varma Garu, it is indeed an honor to listen to a historian whose academic excellency and social commitment reflect the very ideals of justice and equality. With great respect, I now invite Professor Bhagya Bhagya, Sir, to address the gathering. Thank you.
President of this function, Baleshwar Garu, Gyan Prakash Garu, on the dais, other dignitaries, Ajay Gautam Garu, friends in the audience, Jai Bhim to all. I'm so happy to be here for this evening. I feel so proud to be the speaker actually for this 7th memorial lecture of Bhagya Reddy Varma, a great philosopher, social activist, and Dalit community liberator. Indeed, we are discussing, is it okay if I speak in English? I can speak both English and Telugu. So it should be. Right? Yeah, okay. No issue. Okay. Okay. So I choose to speak on Bhagya Reddy Varma's contribution and his legacy and the contemporary Dalit movements in our time. It's very important to actually celebrate figure like Bhagya Reddy Varma because we have to keep on remembering our liberators, saviors, and also celebrate our protest forms. Okay? Because our next generation are not aware of what our ancestors have actually done to this community and our society. It's a very unfortunate that Bhagya Reddy Varma hasn't yet given the kind of publicity and respect supposed to be given. I think, after Pule in Western India, it was the Bhagya Reddy Varma who was almost equally going around across the country and spreading the idea of Dalit liberation. And unfortunately, somehow, there is some problem I see basically. I don't see any major research also on Bhagya Reddy Varma. I have actually presented one paper at Tinmurti, Delhi, Tinmurti Library and Museum, some time back. And it's about the Dalit movement in Hyderabad state. Later on, I also gave a lecture in Ambedkar Memorial Lectures, of which Gyaneshwar Garu is custodian. But apart from that, there is no much work actually done on Bhagya Reddy Varma. That's very, very unfortunate. And slightly I wanted to talk on the say what's happening to caste-based movement today, and also go back in history and share some of the historical insight in relation to Bhagya Reddy Varma. Today, caste become a global phenomena, particularly after Durban conference in 2001. Caste is talked of everywhere in every corner of the globe, and now it is almost considered one of the form of discrimination in almost in all the countries, particularly in US, Australia, Canada, and UK as well. So our Savarna friends went to all these countries, and there also they started showing, expressing their caste cruelties. And our people started going only recently, okay, and they're showing practicing this kind of caste-based discrimination in their companies and institutions. And today, I can tell you from academic background, caste has almost replaced class. In the sense, till recent time, most of the publications, works were written, discussed, talked of from class perspective. Okay, but time has, the situation has come. Something like nobody can escape or abstain from not talking caste. So discussing about caste became a kind of inevitable to all sections of the people, whatever the position they are in. So just think how we could push the things to this level. Okay, it's not a one day phenomena. You can say some 150 years struggle by our forefathers, ancestors. They spent their whole life to educate our people, organize our people, and make them a part of the mainstream. This was not a small mission. If you see Bhagya Reddy Varma's mission, he has built this structure. Now, getting an idea to build this kind of structure, I read somewhere it seems he designed the whole building himself. It seems he's a very good artist as well. So, so creating this structure, educating people from marginalized community, it's not a very simple thing. So particularly in South, before anyone actually talked about caste, it was Bhagya Reddy Varma who was actually taking this issue everywhere. I think we can say he was the founder of Dalit movement in South India, at least. I think even UP or in other countries, it was started much later. And even the Andhra Dalit movement started very late, somewhere in 1917. Adi Andhra movement actually starts there from 1917. Before that, Bhagya Reddy Varma actually starts from 1906 itself. Okay. And he got a very clear, ideas. What is caste? How to deal with the Savarnas? Say if you read his activities, you'll understand how he was actually putting things in a very clever manner. Using this Adi Hindu, okay, actually destabilized the whole Hindu groups. There is this Arya Samaj guy, Keshav Rao. He started arguing, if you say Adi Hindu, what are we? Okay. So they labeled that you are Panchama. This was the very serious debate. Okay. You might think Adi Hindu, you are a part of Hinduism. No. It is actually demolishing Hinduism by putting forward this concept of Adi Hindu. When you are saying Adi Hindu, you are actually saying you are not soil of this, son of this soil. You are a foreigner. Okay. By then there was this debate of Aryan, non-Aryan debates in the country. Pule was actually running this debate. We are the son of this soil, and you Aryans came from outside. So this land belongs to us, not to you. That is how this was actually started. Started by the European Orientalists, and then by the colonial administrators, and then our Dalit Bhajan intellectuals actually picked up this debate and tried to make a very clear cut boundary between the Dravidians and Aryans. Gandhi says you are Harijan. The Hindutva groups said you are Panchamas. He did not agree the Panchama Varna, Bhagya Reddy Varma. Why? If you agree Panchama, then you become part of the Varna system. So he was, sir, he's a semi-educated person. Even after we, doctorate and higher studies, our level of thinking doesn't go to that level. He was just studied like that, the help of some white friends and working here and there. There was no formal education. But how he got this kind of understanding is really very, very important. The kind of consciousness he acquired is amazing actually. So, this was happening in a big debate, and how he actually read all this literature also I am wondering. That is why, after I came here, I asked our friends to show me the library. What were the books he was reading? Because you must have read all the books in the library when he was procuring. So, and dismissing this Savarnas argument that Dalits of this country are Panchama. Okay? You know how Varna system is actually imagined, put on the Indian society. So, this, is a great contribution, I think. When Andhra Dalit friends started organizing their first meeting, they named their organization Panchama Samati something. Then Bhagya Reddy Varma was invited there and told them that, suggested them that, no, you should not use Panchamas. You use Adi Andhras. Already there was Andhras were fighting against the Madrasis. Okay? You see the politics. And they were asserting Andhra identity. If you also say Panchama or Andhra, then you will not have your own identity. How will you carve out your identity? Use this label. We are the Adi Andhras. We are the original people of the Andhra, and you guys are outsider. You cut them by root. So, so this imagination is very, very important. That is how, so he floated this idea, Adi Hindu. That's how All India Adi Hindu Mahasabha came into existence at all India level, then which became very popular in UP, Bihar, in other parts as well. Kannadigas started Adi Kannadiga movement, Kannada Dalits. Tamils started Adi Dravida movements. So, that's how basically, the usage of the terms are very, very important. Okay? So, by Gandhi saying Harijans, you are basically bringing them into caste system. And our Dalit friends were resisting this kind of labeling. Okay? We born to our parents, not to Krishna or any Hindu gods. That was the logic. And using Reddy as a suffix, my goodness, he created sleepless nights to the Reddys. There was a Pratap Reddy who was running this Golconda Patrika. He openly debated, said, if everyone becomes use Reddy, what about we? We are Reddys. Okay. There was a Bahadur Venkatram Reddy, the Kotwal of Hyderabad state. Now, they together doing all the Reddy politics in the Hyderabad city and Telangana. Actually, it was this Venkatram Reddy who organized the Reddys. This Reddy college, Reddy hostel, all these were set up by this Kotwal only. You know what he did? See, Reddy, Bhagya Reddy Varma uses this saying that we were the ruler of this land. Okay, Renu Reddy is basically ruler. So, and there were only few, Kapu becomes Reddy. The Reddy caste actually came into existence only from 1931 census. There was no Reddy caste before 1931 census. So all the Reddys were enumerated as Kapus in census. So then this Reddy and Pratap Reddy gang up, put pressure on the Nizam government, census commission, and told them that, represented them that we should be enumerated as Reddys. We are not Kapus. Okay? And then these people were actually, in rural area. So their children, getting education was a big, difficult. So then they started this Reddy college. Okay? Our Bhagya Reddy Varma actually started much earlier. Actually, he gives inspiration to them. Bhagya Reddy Varma becomes inspiration to upper caste as well. Means Vaishya hostel in Kachiguda, Reddy hostel, they all actually started in 1920s. In 10 itself, Bhagya Reddy Varma started this special schools for Dalits. So, and by that's all different history, but how it's very important to understand Reddy's evolution as well. And then they went to all these Samastana Rajas, Vanaparthi and other Rajas and told them about their idea of organizing Reddys, and that's how they organized Reddys. And they gradually campaigned all the Kapus to climb Reddy caste. That's how by 1941-51 census their number increases anything like. So, but they were basically Kapus. And let me also tell you this. The Savarnas actually imposed this Kshatriya Varna on us. I am a historian, I can tell you, there is no Kshatriya ruler in the country. Start from the very beginning. Who are the our emperors and rulers? It was the Sudras or Brahmins. Okay, or Dalits. Sudras means the Sudras includes all Dalit, including Dalit communities. Adivasis. Okay. Once you rise to political power, then Brahmin come and give you some Chandravamsha or Surya Vamsha tag. Okay. Otherwise, no one actually from the Varna, I mean, so this is a very mythical Varna. Kshatriya Varna is basically a myth. Of course, all Varnas are mythical, but at least physically there was a Brahmin, Varna and caste and all that physically. Okay. But you start, who are the Mauryas? Mauryas were Sudras. Guptas were Vaisyas. Okay. If you come to south, start from our Satavahanas to Kakatiyas, all were Sudras and some other communities. Chalukya's state emblem was this pig. Must be they were pig risers. Okay. So there was no any Kshatriya as such. Okay, whoever comes to the rule, and they'll. And in history, whoever fight against the invaders ferociously, they'll be crushed down anything like. So my historical sense is that when Aryans, expanding and migrating to this land, Dalit must have been fighting against them very, very ferociously. So those who were not surrendering to them, they were branded as, they were basically first boycotted from the society, made them to eat all filthy food, attach them untouchability, and completely cut off them from the larger society. So that in never they'll again rise back. The kind of clutches imposed on the Dalit community, you don't see anywhere in the world. There is a slavery among Muslims as well. But there are slave dynasties. So once a slave prove himself, he can even rise to ruler level. But once Aryan came to this country, no Dalit was allowed to rise to this level again back. So, so the kind of systematic discrimination. Shivaji's army actually constituted a huge Dalit Mahar groups. After peace was take over, they gradually removed all the Mahars from the army. Luckily, there was a this East India Company who recruited them in their army. And ultimately Mahars defeat peace was. Okay. So in actually Dalit communities, particularly Malas, were soldiers, martial communities in all the regions of the India. Okay. They were also constituting agriculture labor as well as the missionaries. The martial group. They were the defender of the village. Anything comes, any attack comes on the village, they would actually face first. So Bhagya Reddy Varma draws spirit from this narrative and claim himself, yes, I am a Reddy. Okay. So claiming this title itself actually disturbed the whole caste, Savarnas, particularly our Reddy friends. Really, Pratap Reddy used to talk this publicly. He has also written articles in Golconda Patrika, you can read. Of course, and then Varma title, Arya, he worked with the Arya Samaj, and Arya Samaj gives him this title Varma. So this basically destabilize the kind of caste system. That is how people might think that Bhagya Reddy Varma was climbing upward mobility. That is what actually in our academics also it is said. Sanskritization. There was a there was a sociologist called M.N. Srinivas. He actually describes this phenomena as a Sanskritization, lower caste imitating upper caste values, Brahmanical values. But actually it was working other way round. Once you climb upper caste title, then it actually makes the whole thing reverse. There were some Chittur Adalat case. I must tell you this. Our goldsmith started performing marriages and death ceremonies and other ceremonies in a Rayalaseema area. Then Brahmin filed a case against them that they are not eligible to perform these rituals because it was cutting their livelihood. So then a court asked them to implead even the Vishwakarmas. They were claiming they are Ishwa Brahmins. And this goldsmith, citing the Brahmanical textual evidences, they actually won the case. Because the Brahmanical Shastra only says that the whole world is created by Ishwa Brahmins, Ishwa Brahma. Ishwa Brahma is the creator of even Brahma. So the whole thing was created. So he is superior than the Brahma, from whom Brahmins born. Okay, so then court says, Chittur court says, district court says, okay, you can perform this. So like this, many downtrodden communities were actually, articulating their community history in a different ways. And if you see Bhagya Reddy Varma's initial activities, he started with Harikathas. Okay. So what are these Harikathas? Harikatha, you feel like very Brahmanical and all that. No, it was a completely protest songs, anti-caste songs. Okay, they actually viewed the caste atrocities, the kind of things going against them in these Harikathas, the bhajan mandals. They created massive consciousness among the Dalit communities. Hyderabad particularly, from where Dalit communities were coming from the rural areas with the expansion of the urban areas. Those who are cleaning dry toilets in Telangana rural area, the same people were brought and made to clean wet toilets in Hyderabad municipality, railways. If you see the Dalit localities in city, you can understand. Boguguntar, Karkhana, Secunderabad, this railway quarters, in Secunderabad. So these were the areas where Dalit were actually living. There was a huge population in Hyderabad city actually. And these semi-educated leaders, whether it is Bhagya Reddy Varma, later Arigiram Swami, B.S. Venkat Swami. So they were actually, creating some kind of a new consciousness among the Dalits through this bhajan mandals. They were working very, very powerful. We have to see what kind of bhajans they were singing, sir. That is what I was asking you. What is there in this, Bhagyanagar Patrika and all. So it is very important to bring this protest songs, embedded in these bhajans. They are not like Krishna bhajan or Saiva bhajans or something like that. So that's how it is started. And if you see Bhagya Reddy Varma's functioning style, it is very much exclusive politics, but at the same time it is also inclusive politics. Okay, Gyan Prakash sir was telling this association has history of headed by even upper caste. So how, sir, at least those days there were people with some humanitarian values. Now it's very difficult to expect any humanity from our Savarna friends. But those days at least there were some people who conceived this humanitarian values and practiced in their life because of the nationalism or whatever the region. So he was taking a lot of help from them. He was working very closely with the Arya Samaj. He was working with the Congress people. He was working with Brahma Samaj. He was working with this animal protection Jain groups. So, you see, he was doing exclusive Dalit politics, but taking help from all other progressive people as well. Now, there are a lot of things actually we should learn from this politics. One has to be sometime diplomatic. I see in universities and in various institutions, our friends behave very crudely. Okay, you have to learn from Brahmins how tactically they actually fix us in certain things. Okay, so that diplomacy is a very, very important. And Bhagya Reddy Varma was very cleverly handling all these things. And he rose to very short period to national level. He was asked to preside All India Depressed Class Conference Association meeting held in Lucknow in 31. So in which actually Ambedkar was chosen to represent Dalits in the round table conference. So he actually rose to that level, a national level, within a very short period. He was going Calcutta, he was going to Andhra, Madras. So he was visiting and he became a national figure, a kind of icon for Dalit movement. Our Andhra friends were completely depending and relying on Hyderabad Dalit leaders. There was no this kind of there was a movement in Andhra, but it was not this kind. Hyderabad Dalit movement was a very, very independent. The Andhra Dalit movement slightly come from Christian modernity. You understand? So Christian modernity basically is a very sophisticated modernity. So you have some leaders, lot of literature, basically literary figures. They confined to expressing their agony through writing, through Telugu literature, poems, and all that. Okay, Jaswa, Kusmadharmanna, many other poets, Boy Bhimanna. So they confined to that level only. But Hyderabad Dalit movement was a street movement. Okay, there were many meetings happening in Hyderabad, in various places, and people were rallying in a very bigger way. So that's completely a different kind of thing. Means Hyderabad altogether is a very different place. I mean, so it was accommodating all cultures, all kinds of things. Okay, you have, of course, 3 linguistic regions: Maratha, Telugu, and Kannada. That was also one kind of advantage here in Hyderabad. So there were this, of course, education was a very central thing in Bhagya Reddy Varma's movement. Education basically would liberate you. Today we have come to this level because of we have some education. Had we not studied, we would have, like our parents, doing some agriculture or working as Jitagallu in some Reddy's field. So he figured out education is the main key to enter into this modern society, and encouraged the education. Started schools for Dalit, both girls and boys, and that too in mother tongue. Actually, in Hyderabad, modern education started very late. Okay, I mean, so till 1880s, only some elite people had privilege to go to school. There were few English medium schools run by Christian missionaries in Secunderabad, actually for military, white military officers, children. But in the state, there were some, I mean, basically the madrasas, mostly Urdu, Persian education happens in the madrasas only. So it was started, Urdu made official language in Hyderabad in 1885. So from then onwards, there was some kind of focus on modern education. Okay, so Urdu schools, Urdu colleges were started, but there was no place for Telugu language. Okay, because of the some pressure, Nizam also start some Telugu medium schools. Not Telugu medium schools. Initial classes would be in their mother tongue for 1-2 classes. Then gradually they will be converted into Urdu medium. So Bhagya Reddy Varma demanded that all through the whole education should be in their mother tongue. That's how it started. So like this, in his own time, he established some 26 schools. It's not so small thing. Okay, Kannadigas start their Kannada schools. Marathas started their Marathi schools. That is how these are called special schools. Okay, so it was the Dalit leaders, Bhagya Reddy Varma, who started Telugu schools. Our Lakshmi Narayana, this school in Narayana Guda started much later. as a part of national movement in the 1920s. Okay, but much before that, Dalit leaders actually started Telugu schools. So they were path makers for many things. Dalit leader in the city. They were actually creating a new ecosystem, new environment in the city. And negotiating with the Nizam government was, the chemistry was very good, luckily, because Nizam treated these communities as cultural communities. Okay, so as this royal thing would be there, no? So they have some pleasure in patronizing some culture. That's very much there in their blood. So that is how they treated this Dalit communities as separate cultural communities, and they should be allowed to promote their culture. This is what actually he was doing with the Arya Samaj. On Nizam there are so many allegations, all that. But as a historian, I can tell you, he was very, very democratic in this respect. Those years 36 to 46 to 48 were very unfortunate years in Hyderabad history. But if you remove these 2 years, 46 to 48, the other period was actually for downtrodden community, it was a golden age. Dalit leader, imagine, raised to education minister. Engar Swami was education minister, and he created Dalit Education Trust with 1 crore rupees. You don't believe. In 1946, created this trust and allocated 1 crore rupees for the development and education of the Dalits. This is a result of the Dalit activism in the city, across the state. This 1 crore rupees did not come just like that. These groups were working as a pressure group. In 1934, Arige Ramaswamy was appointed as a councillor of Hyderabad municipality. By then, there was no political reservation in the whole country. Political reservation started after 1935 Act, implemented from 36 election in other parts of the country. But in Hyderabad, it was started in 34 itself. And Dalit leader, Bhagya Reddy Varma actually put lot of pressure on the Nizam government that there should be, we have a large population, we should be given some representation in the municipal council. Then he tells them that you choose your own leader. So all Dalit leader of the city choose Arige Ramaswamy, who was running this depressed class association. And he becomes that. And from 30s, there was a lot of political churning at the national level and in Hyderabad state as well. By then, this communal rights were also happening. But Hyderabad was completely free from this communal rights till 38. Okay. In 1938, there was an incident in Hyderabad in which a Muslim guy was killed by the Arya Samajas, Maharashtra Arya Samajas. This Maharashtra, I don't know, I can say this, Savarnas are very, very dangerous. I mean, so the whole Savarna philosophy comes from Maharashtra, not from the original Savarnas Allahabad. Why? This group is a political group, comes from Peishwa tradition. Okay, so peace was actually injected this anti-Dalit, anti-Bhaujan thinking among the people very, very strongly. Whoever involved in all the RSS or Hindu Mahasabha leaders come from Maharashtra, not from the Allahabad. Allahabad supposed to be the original home of the Brahmins. So, I mean, Maharashtra Brahmins were very, very dangerous. They were the one who is creating all these divisive politics, even now in the country. They are behind this. You can easily make out. So, and it means these communal things were now coming up in a very big way. And our Dalit friends were working very closely with the Nizam government, negotiating with the Nizam government. Sam Sundar was one of the very close confidant of Nizam, last Nizam. He sent him to UNO to actually deal with the Hyderabad case. He did not send a Muslim. He sent a Dalit. So, means he had that much confidence among the Dalits. So, and means creating this kind of aura or atmosphere, there is a lot of effort behind that. It was not created in one day. I mean, when I say legacy, Bhagya Reddy Varma's legacy, it is this. In the 52 election, it's a wonderful performance of the Dalits. I mean, by then there was a lot of changes. Hyderabad was occupied by Indian Army. Then under army rule for some time, there was a civil rule for some time, 1 year. Then Hyderabad went for election in 52. In that election, in Telangana itself, out of 46 seats, left and Dalit groups together won 35 seats. Scheduled Caste Federation, which was again connected with Ambedkar, itself won 5 seats, MLA seats. And the Communist Party contested on the name of Progressive Democratic Forum, PDF, won 35 seats, of which 10 were Dalits. So, I mean, of course, after 52, I mean, Dalit have actually become a very visible political force. And this force comes from Bhagya Reddy Varma's movement. He laid the foundation in this hall. Unfortunately, Congress demolished this force, lured some leaders and joined them in their party, gradually weakened the whole Dalit movement in this 52 to 60. By 60, there was a complete silence of the Dalits. And a large group gradually tilted to Communist Party in Telangana. means in the armed struggle, Telangana present armed struggle, Dalits were not very prominent. There were Dalits, but they were not very prominent. It was largely led by the BC communities and Adivasi communities, our Lambadas and all. They were giving very tough fight, being in the front row. But after the army action, Dalit actually formed the complete grassroots level cadre. Why? Because Reddys have come back. Means to fight against the Reddy feudal, the only way for the Dalit is to join the Communist Party, which was fighting against the Reddy feudalism. There is, I watched this, of course, a play, Mabhumi, play, very historic play. You can see Venkadu's role in that. Dalit, Palega. So there was all kind of exploitation. There was a Vetti. Vetti was actually abolished during the Nizam government itself, but it was still practiced. Till 75, Indira Gandhi brings this land reform. Dalits were now landless. Now we call this assigned lands. From where this land came? Of course, she had her own problem. All these upper castes were now resisting her. They don't want Indira Gandhi to be prime minister. They could not digest women becoming prime minister of this country, the Savarnas, the upper caste of Congress party. So to crush them down, to cut their economic things, she comes with this program, land reform, and distributed all the excess lands of the Reddys to Dalits. So they parted from Congress party and they started this Reddy Congress. Okay, so that was the kind of thing. And from thanks to Ambedkar writing, Ambedkar again reborn in the 70s in form of Dalit Panther movement in Maharashtra. They demanded that Ambedkar's writings should be put in public domain. After Ambedkar died, Indian government, before performing the last rites, first thing they did is sealed all his writings. There was a raid on his house, seized all his writings, which was actually unpublished in 4 or 5 trunk box, and put it in the lock room. There was a movement by the Dalit Panthers to put them in the public domain. That is how this Ambedkar collection writings published at last by the Maharashtra government. And then particularly in Andhra, there was this atrocities on Dalit, Karamchedu, Sunduru incidents, which stirred Dalit movement in Telugu states. And subsequent Mandal movement also contributed a lot. It was during this time the whole India was divided into two, quota people and non-quota people. I was a witness of this. I was doing my graduation. It was the SCs and STs who took the movement on road. OBC friends did not come. They said, no, we don't want reservation. That was the kind of mindset of our OBC friends. I took Lati things. They were not coming. I mean, so when we boycott class, they say, no, we don't want to come. So, but that actually, steered the Dalit movement in the country and particularly in Telugu states. After 90, I mean, what Bhagya Reddy Varma was initially asserting, that kind of assertion again revisit and come back. Self-respect became very central. Krishna Madiga comes out and say, I am Madiga. Mayavati says, I am Chamar. From where this spirit is coming? It's coming from our Dalit old, past Dalit movements. Bhagya Reddy Varma, the same thing he was asserting. How far Mandakishna Madiga is remembering Bhagya Reddy Varma, I don't know. But this spirit of self-respect, coming from this movement. One should understand this. There is a long history of this. I mean, it's a fact that caste has two phases. One is atrocity, exploitation, humiliation, torture, all that. The other side is like, works as an agency. The community's power actually comes from within. I mean, let me put it simply. I mean, the organizational capacities or mobilization capacities, everything come from the within. Okay, Bhagya Reddy Varma turns this bhajan culture, okay, of the Dalits into a protest form. Means there is already some Dalit culture. I mean, singing, music. These all become kind of forms of protest. Today you see number of our Dalit guys singing beautifully. I mean, I have seen in Telangana movement. Who are the people who run the Telangana movement? The Dalit poets, Dalit singers, dancer. Okay. So I mean, and there is a long history to that. One should understand that. So I mean, now there is a lot of Dalit literature coming. What is the inspiration for this Dalit literature? From where it is coming? How people are asserting? This is all, there is a long history to that. And it is very important. It is very important to actually celebrate this history. And I am so thankful to Bhagya Reddy Varma, Trust, Ajay Garu, and other. They are still carrying forward the legacy of Bhagya Reddy Varma by organizing this kind of memorial lecture. And I strongly feel we should take Bhagya Reddy Varma in society. Now, there are so many universities. Why any university at least start some center on the name of Bhagya Reddy Varma? Why they name at least some building after Bhagya Reddy Varma? He was the founder of Dalit movement in the country. And just ignored, neglected. I don't know, what is this kind of paucity? But I think Ajay Garu, we should think on this line, do something so that his ideas, his works, goes into society and that inspire people. Sometimes I go and speak in a public meeting and all that, and they come back and tell me that sir, that day you said this. I took it very seriously. It transformed my life. So that is how it is. I mean, Bhagya Reddy Varma has given us a great legacy. So it is very important to actually carry forward this legacy. And with these words, I thank you once again and conclude my remarks. Thank you so much. Jai Bhim.
Thank you very much, sir. You have given us a lot of information in various areas. Your speech appeared to be very mild, but it is a lot of information we have. So we all have to, I hope everybody has heard the speech very carefully and understood the contents of the speech. Thank you very much, sir, for this 7th memorial lecture on the Bhagya Reddy Varma Garu. Now, the next item is the felicitation to our chief guest by D. Balanarasimha Garu and J. Kishan Garu. We know this building was established in 1922 by Sri Bhagya Reddy Varma Garu. At that time, he has established this Adi Indo Social Service League. This league is from 1922 onwards, this league has come into force. And now, the league has got two main functionaries. One is the core group, the other one is managing trustee group. Under managing trustee group, the main responsibility of the managing trustee group is to keep the building up to date, say for any repairs, additions and demolitions, etc., paintings and etc. This core group function is mainly to maintain these school activities like birthdays, sports days, death anniversaries, or any other cultural activities in the school. So, we need some active persons to our league to be added. Those who are interested, they can come forward and join our league and give services to our league. At the same time, I request all the audience to increase the strength of our school, because we have very less strength now. In one time, there was 800 to 900 students were running in the school. Now it has come to a very small small number. So our vain efforts that we should increase the strength of the school, and also we have to fund, as Sir said, the crores of rupees have been collected for the education purpose like that. If we also should collect the money for the development of the school. So I request everyone to come forward and give the services to our league. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Now, vote of thanks by our Assistant General Secretary, Sri Gansham Garu, Dr. Gansham.
7th memorial lecture on Bhagya Reddy Varma, and all the members on dais, managing trustee, vice president, president, another league member, and also all the participants for showing interest and joining this program. Now I request all to have the dinner is arranged. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.